I'm going to talk a little bit about cloud storage in general, then we'll drill down into OneDrive. Cloud storage is originated, most of us started working in IT back when we just had our own device. There was no cloud, and if we created something, we created a document, it would be saved on our local drive. If we wanted to move it from one computer to the other, we'd put it on a thumb drive or put it on a disk or a CD and move it around physically, but we were physically tied to that device and other devices we could attach to that device. What the cloud does is it breaks that connection to the physical device. Now you can sit and create a Word document on your laptop, but instead of saving it on the laptop, it saves it in the cloud, which means you can now get to that document from any other device that you have, as well as from a browser on any device anywhere. The cloud really isn't a cloud. This is what the cloud is. The cloud is a huge data center owned by the cloud service provider. So my data is in there on one of these drives connected to one of their computers, managed by their computer science tech experts. There are four predominant cloud services vendors right now. Dropbox was one of the early pioneers. You may have used Dropbox already. Google Drive has its own cloud drive that's tied into the Google products. Apple has iCloud, which is connected to iCloud, to the Apple products. And Microsoft has OneDrive, which is connected to the Microsoft products. So they're fairly similar in terms of the basic structure of what they do, but quite a bit of difference among the three in terms of what they've added on to the basic core that Dropbox has. As I'm going through, I'm going to go through this background material fairly quickly, but if you have questions, please just unmute and ask your questions. We've got a small crowd, so we can make it very interactive. So what are the benefits of cloud storage? Well, one is you can save storage space on your device. So if my C drive on my laptop is getting full, I can move things to the cloud and store it in the cloud, freeing up space on my laptop. More importantly, you can share and collaborate on documents with others. So if I want working together with a team on a document, I can create the document, put it in the cloud, and then my teammates can access it at the same time I'm accessing it because it's in the cloud. So you can have multiple people updating the document at exactly the same time. The software keeps track of who made which changes, but the cloud enables all of us to get to that file at the same time. You can access your own data from all your other devices and public devices because of the cloud. Similar process. So if I create a document on my laptop, put it in the cloud, I can access it from my other devices, but I can actually go to my friend's house or to a hotel where they got computers in the lobby, log into the browser and access the cloud from the browser. So pretty much I can get to my data anywhere on any device as long as it can get to the internet. So that's the real value of cloud services. Now, there's two other terms that are critically important because they seem like they're the same. They're not, and it causes problems if you get them confused. One is backing up. Backing up, everyone is probably familiar with. We've been doing this since the first PCs came out. Backing up means to take a point-in-time copy of your files and then put them on another computer somewhere for safe storage. Most of the backup vendors now use the cloud. So I would take a copy of my C drive, put it in the cloud, and then if something happened to my laptop later, I could pull that copy of my C drive back down to my new computer that I just bought and restore everything basically. So that's what backup is. It's a point-in-time copy. Once you take that copy, it's not changed. You can pull down from it, but you don't ever change that point-in-time copy. Syncing means to add, change, or delete files as activity occurs to ensure that multiple devices have an identical set of files. So if I'm syncing through the cloud here, if I create a document on my laptop, it's immediately visible from my other devices or to other people. that I've shared that with. If I change something on my phone, on that device, it's immediately changed on the copy the other two are looking at. Most important part, if I delete it on my laptop, it's gone for everybody else and for me from all of my devices. This is where people get confused. They think, oh, I've got a copy in the cloud so I can delete it off my laptop because it'll still be in the cloud. And if you're syncing, it is not. If you delete it from any device, it's gone from all of your devices. The best way to conceptualize it is not 100% technically correct, but it's the way to conceptualize it is that we're all working off of a single copy in the cloud. So if any one of us deletes it, it's gone for everybody. Questions about syncing versus backing up? OneDrive is only used for syncing. It is not a backup service. So that will make it somewhat simpler. Well, I'll keep drilling down this point as we go through. If there's no questions, let's go ahead and drill down a little deeper. A lot of this becomes a little clearer when you get specific examples. So let's get out of the conceptual and get a little more specific. So what is OneDrive? OneDrive is a cloud syncing service available to anyone with a Microsoft account. It's built into Windows 10. If you have Windows 10, you have OneDrive. You don't have to install it separately. If you've got Microsoft 365, which provides Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, it automatically comes with OneDrive. You don't have to install it separately. So it really is baked into all of the Microsoft products. So basically, this is what 365 gives you. All your application software plus 1 terabyte of data in OneDrive. So a huge amount of data storage included if you got Microsoft 365 for $70 a year. And it can be used to store and sync non-Microsoft files. So it's not just for documents created with the Microsoft products. I can put anything that I can put onto a thumb drive into OneDrive. In fact, one way to think about OneDrive really is like a cloud-based thumb drive. And that'll become clear, I think, when we start showing some more examples. But that's the other way to think about OneDrive as a cloud-based thumb drive or USB drive, flash drive, whatever term. I still use the old term of thumb drive. USB drive, I think, is the term du jour. You can access OneDrive from all of your devices and from any location. And that's good on top of everything else. My internet connection's getting unstable. Everybody still hearing me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Finally just got in.
Oh, you did? I don't, let's see if I can. Wow.
Maybe, see if well, I'll leave mine alone because I'm already in. So we're going to keep going. So if you can get in, that's great. If not, keep listening. So this is going to get a little more visual from here. So I mentioned there's several ways you can get to OneDrive. And the most common way for Windows is to go in through Windows File Explorer. So I'm going to bring up Windows File Explorer, which is down here. I'll just leave it where it is. That's close enough. And so here's my local drive. Yeah, a little bit of background noise. I'm going to mute everyone again. So here's my physical device and everything attached, all the folders available from my physical PC. And then here's my OneDrive. And it looks and acts just like another folder. It looks just like if I plugged in that USB or thumb drive and I was accessing files on that thumb drive physically attached to my computer. I'm just accessing them in OneDrive, which is up in the cloud instead of physically connected. I'm connected via the internet. But I can go into any of these folders. and access any of these files. I can launch one of these files and open it up, just like I could from my C drive down here on my device. So it really looks and acts just like another drive physically attached to your computer. Questions so far? Is that making sense? I mean, I could, if I wanted to take something off of my physical device and put it into the cloud, it would be no different than copying it to a thumb drive. Let me go into my downloads. Let's say I was on the internet and I downloaded this to my local device, and I want to now put it into my cloud drive, into OneDrive. I can just bring it over here and drop it into, let's see, I'm going to put it into, I've got a folder for GetSetup, OneDrive class. Let's dump it into the OneDrive class folder. And so now that's in this folder. I can go the other way around. I can take something out of OneDrive, put it down on my physical device. So again, to not belabor the point, but it looks and acts just like any other drives. So a lot of people use OneDrive and don't even realize what it is, in fact.
Is that freeing up space on your hard drive when you do that?
It can. We'll get to that. It doesn't always, you can set it up to work several different ways, but if you're, it is one of the reasons to use OneDrive is if your physical laptop, your C drive is running out of space, you can move things to the cloud. And it gets us to where I can grab it and get rid of it. Let's talk about another way to get to OneDrive and how you use OneDrive. Let's go in from any of the Microsoft products. Let me open Word. I forgot to say, I can open a copy of the chat and put it over here in case your microphone is not working. But if your microphone's working, please just go ahead and ask your questions verbally. All right. So if I go into Word and I want to create a document, I'm just going to create something here. If I wanted to just take this and save it in OneDrive instead of on my C drive, I wouldn't do anything much different. I would just go into File and do a save. And I could put it in OneDrive, or I can put it down on my local PC. It doesn't really matter. They work the same. So I want to put it into OneDrive in this case. So I'm just going to click OneDrive. It opens my OneDrive. Actually, it opens File Explorer, and I can go into this GetSetup OneDrive class and call this OneDrive class document and save it. And I've now saved it in the cloud. One thing that's new with OneDrive is that you can do autosave. And if autosave is on, it automatically saves everything from here on out on OneDrive. So if I add another row, I don't have to hit save. I can go ahead and just close this, and it would have automatically saved it in my OneDrive. So it automatically saves. If you use Google, Google works the same way. Autosave works if you're using OneDrive. If you're saving it on your local PC, you can't use autosave. Questions about accessing and using?
Hello?
Uh-huh.
I have a question. I've been saving everything on everything I can find, like OneDrive, my whatever, my documents. If I delete, let's say, my documents, does that mean it won't be in OneDrive?
If you've got it saved in OneDrive and you delete it from OneDrive, it's gone. Just as if.
What if I delete it from something else, like my documents from my computer? Because I said I'm saving everything on everything I can find. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. So does that mean that the file will not be on OneDrive, though I saved it on OneDrive because I deleted it on something else in my computer?
Yeah, can you see my screen?
No,
or are
I
you just on the
can't.
phone?
I can't get into you.
Yeah, so it's a little hard to describe, but you can put a
I
file.
listen.
You can put a copy of the file on OneDrive, and then you can put a copy on your local computer, your C drive. And in that
Yeah.
case, you've got two copies of the file. And if you change one of them, it doesn't change the other one. But if you delete one of them, it doesn't delete the other one either, but you've got two separate copies. So they're
Okay.
not going to be, they're not synced.
Great. Thank you.
So basically you're using your, the C drive as a backup for OneDrive. And you can do that. Other
Thank you.
questions on what we've talked about so far? The next thing, which is, the real flexibility part of this, is being able to get to your OneDrive from anywhere you are, pretty much on any device you've got, as long as it's got a browser. So let's say I'm at my friend's house and I need to access something, or I'm at the hotel and I'm down in the lobby using one of the hotel's computers. I just launch a browser, open a tab, type in OneDrive.live.com. And I've already logged in. If I was on a computer somewhere other than my own, it would ask me to enter my Microsoft username and password. I've already logged into Microsoft in this browser, so I didn't have to do that again. And here's my OneDrive. And I'll bring up the File Explorer again, just so you can see that it's the same. Sci 150, Sci 150, 3217, BCC, CFCC. So I'm looking at the same OneDrive from a browser that I was looking at a few minutes ago from my File Explorer in Windows. I can go down to, through the file structures and get into the same files we were just looking at. I can check one of these files, and then I can download it. So if I wanted to put that, maybe this is a file that my friend wanted, and so I can just go here and download a copy to his device, because that would be the device that's running the browser where I am. So that would put it onto that device. If I wanted to get something off of his device, if he had a document I wanted a copy of, I could upload it from his device. You just click upload and it opens File Explorer again, and you could upload it into the cloud from your browser. Well, this is really handy. I teach a class at a community college, and so I have all my PowerPoints in the cloud. So I'm working at home doing my PowerPoint presentations. When I get to the college, I just go to one of the college's computers, log into the browser, access my PowerPoint slides, which are right there. And I can just click one of these and launch it. It runs on the computer at the college. So, it gives me access to all my files wherever I am. Is that making sense? People?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And, right. And of course, I can create a new folder and move things around from here as well. So that's the other way you can get to things. You can get to it from a browser on any device that will run a browser. And the last is you can access it from your phone. Let me move this over a little bit. So here's my iPhone, and it'll work on an Apple device. It didn't. So I've got an
Maybe
Apple iPhone, and I'm going to go over here, and here's OneDrive. I can go into OneDrive. And again, here's those same folders that we were seeing at the other locations. I can go into that same BCC, Fall 250, go into my lecture slides. There's my PowerPoint slides. Really does give you access to your information pretty much from wherever you are. Questions? Let's move a little deeper. If everybody's good so far, and if you have questions, unmute and ask your questions. Okay, and I actually did this, already demoed this already. You can upload files to OneDrive from your device just by using File Explorer. So I showed you how to do that. You can just drag and drop something from any one of these folders up to, you can drag and drop if you want to actually move it. If you want to make a copy, you can do a copy the document from here. You can just do your simple copy and paste. I can copy it, then I can come up here to here and paste it. And there it is. I just put that file into OneDrive, the cloud drive, copy and paste it from my local drive. If you're using other cloud-based services, it's a little more complicated, but you can actually, I've got iCloud Drive, so I can take things from my iCloud Drive, I can take things from my Dropbox and move them around among cloud drives as well. So they all just act like a thumb drive. Keep going if there's no questions.
How do you set up OneDrive on your iPhone?
You just go to the App Store and download OneDrive.
Oh, okay.
And then
Thanks.
log in with your Microsoft account. Yep, good question. Thanks. And it looks like this. Sometimes it's easier to find stuff in the App Store by the icon than by the name. So there may be more than one thing that has the word OneDrive in it, but you want the one that looks like that. You can share via OneDrive. You can do it from OneDrive. You can do it from the apps themselves. So you can do this from Word or Excel or PowerPoint, but you can actually do it from OneDrive as well. So let me go into here. And let's say I wanted to share this PowerPoint slide with someone else. I just right click and here's share. And here I can say, who do I want to share with? And how do I want to share? So I can say, do I want that person to be able to edit the document, give them collaborative working privileges, or just give them a view-only copy? So maybe somebody wants a copy of my PowerPoint slides, but they want to change it, and I don't want them changing my slides. I'll let them have a copy. So I would share it with view-only rights. I can set an expiration date if I want to. I can set a password if I want to, if I want to really protect that document, make sure it only gets in the hands of the person that I want to get to it. So I'm going to apply this and say, whoever I share it with can only have view-only access. And then I just put the names of the people I want to share it with, put in their email address. So that person, then I can add additional people, add a message as to why I'm sharing it with them, and hit send, and they'll get an email with a link. They can click on that link and it will give them access to that shared file. Questions on that?
Oh,
Now, I can do the same thing from an app. Go back into Word. So they share up here. It's pretty much the same screen. It does the same thing that we were doing. So you can share from within the app, or you can share from OneDrive. OneDrive is what makes it possible to share. So 2 different ways to get to the same thing. Okay, this is a question that's come up several times already. And let's talk about freeing up space on your computer. I'm gonna go back to File Explorer again. Let me kind of move this over a little bit where you can see it. And you'll notice there's a status column here that has various images. There's got check marks, and some of them have clouds. Let me click over to what those mean. But if it's a cloud, that means this document, it only lives in the cloud. All that's on my computer is a shortcut pointing to that file. So it's not taking up any space to speak of on here, just whatever it takes to have that little shortcut. If it has a check mark, it means that it is stored on my computer and in the cloud. Always in the cloud. It may or may not be on your computer. So let's say, and a scenario might be that I'm going to do a presentation. I'm going to present this PowerPoint slide in my presentation. So I want it on my laptop. So in case when I get to where I'm going to present this, if it's in the cloud only and they don't have web access where I'm going, I can't show my presentation. So what I probably want to do is put it on my computer. So I can get to it from my computer or from the cloud. When I come back home, if I want to free up space, I can just right click and say free up space. And you'll notice it's going to change to, it's circled for a second, and now it says cloud. So now I know that one is no longer on my computer. It's only in the cloud. So all the space that it was taking up has now been moved out. And if that was a huge file, you can do that at the file level, or you can do it at the folder level. So if I wanted to put all this in the cloud and take it off my computer, I could just come to the folder level, do the same thing, say free up space. It's going to move all of these into the cloud. You see they're all circling. Now they're all coming to a cloud. So you can do that at any folder level. I could come up here to this level and put everything from here down, either in one click, put it all in the cloud, or put it all on my device. If you're not running short of space on your device, especially if it's a laptop that you're taking off places, I normally keep everything both places. That way, if I happen to be traveling and I'm in an airport or someplace where I don't have access to the internet, I can still work on this copy that's on my computer. Once I get internet access, it will sync and take those changes I made on my computer when I was offline, put them back up in the cloud, and sync everything back to that cloud copy. Questions?
Janice? When I was previously, when you had your statuses listed and you had the check marks, some check marks had a green background and some didn't. What was the difference?
Yeah, it's kind of a squirrely difference. I'm not sure why. So I'm going to, let me see if I can replicate it. And here's the option alternative. So we talked about free up space. So now free up space is a grayed out. If I want to put it back on this device again, I can say always keep on the device. And that gives you the green circle, which basically means that I have I have told it to keep it on my device all the time. If I just save something, and let me see if I can maybe make this happen.
I wish I could get on.
And I'm going to go ahead and close that device and see if it will go ahead and save. Anyway, basically, if you save something, in some ways, it has this different one. It can be on your device without this check mark, without this being marked as always keep on device. I don't know why it works that way. I totally ignore it. I don't think it's relevant for anything. If it's a check mark, it means it's on your device. If it's a cloud, it means it's in the cloud. Whether it's the round check mark or these are the green ones, in either case, it's on your device taking up space. I can't find one now that's got the other one, but pretty much the white open one that opened from online file or saved to OneDrive, file is available offline, taking up space. Oh, okay. All right, that's the difference. And I don't remember how to set it, but if it's set to always available, then it is always on your hard drive. There's something called storage sense. That's a setting you can set. And it basically lets Microsoft, if you're starting to run low with space, take some things off of your C drive and put them just into the cloud. So anything that's got a white circle, it can move it to the cloud without asking your permission. If it's a white, then if it's green like this, it always stays on your device. Microsoft can't move it. That's what the difference is. It's a little cryptic. Other questions? That was the main things. I got a couple other things we can go over, but I want to make sure I answered all the questions about anything so far.
Do you know why I can't get in? Hello?
We're having technical difficulties. Mine is still doing the same thing the way I normally log in. So I think probably the best thing at this point would be to sign up and take the class again.
Oh, no, I will. I don't want to interrupt the class, but maybe when it's over, I have a question. I can't, trying to get in on my phone, which is new to me too. And they told me I couldn't use Zoom. It would hurt my phone. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
What does premium OneCloud mean? Is it different from OneCloud?
Where'd you see the premium OneCloud?
I saw it I downloaded while we were sitting here.
Oh.
I downloaded it on my phone, and then I saw the words premium OneCloud, and I also saw it on when you were moving around on your computer, I saw it in the lower left corner.
Okay, I do not know. I would guess from the terminology that it is a version that gives you some features you don't get with the free version, but I don't know what those are. Let me show you a couple other things. If there's no questions about the core stuff here, you can check your storage, how much storage you've got available in OneDrive. And basically to do that, you just come to the OneDrive up here and right click. And then go down to settings. And you'll open up this. And this shows you that 95.1 gigabytes of my okay, this is showing me of that I've got 1,054 gigabytes in the cloud, and I've got 95.1 gigabytes on my device. So I'm saving a little bit of space. So the difference between these two are the ones that are saved in the cloud only. So as I mentioned, I'm saving almost everything both places because I've got plenty of space on my my local device. So I don't need to offload storage. So that's what this one is showing. If I click manage storage, this is the 1 terabyte of space that you get with your Microsoft 365 account. So it shows I'm using 95.1 gigabytes of my 1.3 terabytes, which, as you can see, I'm not even making a dent in my available storage space. A terabyte of storage is a huge amount of storage. But this is where you can check and see how much of your storage space you're using up. For most people, it's more than you're ever going to use up.
Wade, how do you decide if you have various, like Google Keep and OneDrive and Dropbox? How do you decide what you put where?
What I do is, if I'm using Google products, then everything is stored in OneDrive by default. You don't have a choice there. You can put other things in Google Drive, but Google's going to put everything there. So all my Google files are stored in Google Drive, and everything with Microsoft is stored in OneDrive. So I basically stay within the family. So all my PowerPoint slides and Excel spreadsheets and everything are in OneDrive. You can see I use OneDrive for almost everything. There's nothing on my C drive except things I've recently downloaded. I keep everything in OneDrive. The only other stuff I don't have in there is my iCloud photos, because that's my iPhone syncing, but I can get to those from here as well. Now, if I was a predominantly Apple person, I would probably use iCloud Drive and not use OneDrive. So it really kind of depends on which family of products you're using, Google, Apple, or Microsoft. Does that answer your question?
I have a question, Wade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using OneDrive, and that's where all of my photos have been backed up with, because I had a Windows smartphone. So they naturally went in, that's where they went. Now I've got, obviously they're not supporting that anymore. So I bought an Android. And how do I transfer my photos from that are all stored now in OneDrive over to Google before they change the rules and, don't allow I want to get them over there. I just don't know how to move them from OneDrive to Google Photos or Google Drive.
I know you can do that. I don't off the top of my head know how to do it. There is a class on Google Photos, and I'm sure in that class they explain how you can pull things from other services into Google.
Google Photos. Then what about, all right, so now I've actually have set up my camera, the Android, so that it will sync both to OneDrive and Google Photos. So backs them up both places.
So back up your photos both places?
Right, it allows me to do that.
You can do that. Yeah, you can do multiple. I sync my iPhone photos to iCloud, but then I back mine up to Google Drive.
But not to OneDrive.
Not to OneDrive. I don't put my photos in. I've got some old photos in here, and lots of times I may copy something from iCloud photos over to my OneDrive photos, but most of the photos in here are old pictures from other sources. Yeah.
See, that's what I want to do. I want to take my OneDrive photos and put them into Google Photos now that I'm using an Android phone. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just don't know how to do that off the top of my head. But and there's another class that has somebody that's much more knowledgeable about how to manage Google Photos and move things around than I am. So I would probably refer you to that class.
Okay,
I can show you at the end of class how you can find that class and register for it.
it's just called Google Photos, right?
Yeah, it's more than that. If you search for Google Photos, you'll find it.
So that's where I would go. Is Google Drive and Google Photos, is that the same thing? Like,
It's
One
not the
drive is?
same thing. They're both part of Google, but they're separated, I think.
they're
Again,
separate? Okay.
I'm not that familiar with it, so I'm not the
So
right
when you
person to ask those questions.
Okay, so when you have storage, like you have your photos in Google Photos stored, right?
Okay, we
That's
need
what-
to get out of Google. There's again other classes for that. I want to
Okay.
make sure we answer the OneDrive questions.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's
Are
okay.
there any other
Wait.
OneDrive questions?
Yeah, Wade,
Uh-huh.
if I'm on my phone and I have the OneDrive app and it tells me to sign in or sign up, what do I do?
It's your Microsoft user ID and password is what
Okay.
OneDrive on your phone wants.
Okay.
It's the same one you would use to log into Windows. And that's the same one you would use to go into a browser. If you wanted to bring up OneDrive on a browser, it would be your Microsoft username and password. We're just about out of time. I got time for maybe one or two more questions. Anybody has a question? If not, we'll go to closing because I know several classes came up and I'll show you how to get to those classes. Let me just see. I think that was everything I had meant to show you. Yep, that's the last slide. Okay, well, let's go to closing because we've got just a few minutes left, and I'll show you how to get this couple of those other classes that I've talked about. So about GetSetup, our mission is to create economic opportunity for seniors and help seniors learn tools and skills needed to stay connected and live healthy lives. We work primarily with other organizations that also work with seniors like Senior Living, YMCA, AARP. That's probably how you found us, was from one of their websites or emails. I mentioned the session was being recorded. You can request a copy of this or any recording of any sessions you attend by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. This is an important email address to write down and put into your email contacts. Be sure to include the class name and the date attended. They'll only send the recording out to people that were in the class. But there'll also be an email coming out after class. There are several parts to that email. You can have a little bit of background noise, just a second. You can recommend the class to a friend, and you can do that via email or Facebook. That will send them a link to the next time the class is going to be offered. There's also a class notes section. This will have some key takeaways from the class. It'll also have links to one or more websites that will review some of the same content as the class, as well as some additional content that we didn't cover in the class, but that's related. There'll be links to 3 other classes. If you want to take one of these classes, this is basically a quick shortcut. Just click on that link in the email. It'll take you straight to the registration page on our website, so you can sign up for that class.
Mhm.
There's also a give feedback link. You click that, it'll take you to our feedback page. You can rate the session, just click 1 to 5 stars. You can rate the guide, click 1 to 5 stars. There's a place for comments. Comments are optional, but we certainly appreciate you taking the time to enter some comments about why you gave us the star rating that you did. And there's also a section down here where you can provide information about how we can improve our services. And this is also where you can request additional classes. So if there's a class you'd like to see us teach, if you want to see a OneDrive intermediate class or something like that, this is where you would put that, provide that information. Most of the new classes we're adding come from this feedback form. If you don't get this email within 24 hours after the class, send an email to help@getsetup.io and let them know you didn't receive the class email for that class. They will get back in touch with you to see if they can figure out what happened and to get you a copy of it. One thing you may
Can
want
you
to do
repeat
before you
that
contact
again?
them. What's that?
Because can you repeat? Because I can't get into your class, and this is my first time.
Sure.
And I
Help.
would like to make sure I can get in to get started. So set up. Should I call? Should I
It's
email help?
It's an email address. Help
What is
at
it?
getsetup.help@getsetup.io.
What? Set up.
Help.
.help. But what is the other one? Setup.io?
getsetup.io. And you'll get a copy of this email since you signed up for the class, and it'll have that in here. But
oh, good, because thank you. I mean, I'm so glad I learned something, and I so appreciate it. Sorry to interrupt.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
The only thing you can do from the email is to click the view schedule. That will take you to our website where you can book another class. 3 ways to book a class. You can book it by schedule. So if you know you have time on a certain day, let's say Sunday, and you're interested to see what classes we're offering Sunday, it'll take you right to that date, and you can look for a class that you want to sign up for. You can also search for classes by category. If you click on classes, we've broken all of our classes into categories, grouped them by categories. We've got over 200 classes, so it's a little extensive to scroll through them. So if you're looking for classes on financial planning, for example, you can click here and it'll show you the financial planning classes. If you're looking for more technical classes, there's a technology category, which lists our tech classes. And again, you can scroll through those. There's quite a few of them. If you know what you're looking for, the best way to find it is just to go to the search icon here and enter a keyword. So for instance, if you're looking for that Google Photos class, you can just Google Photos. And here it is, Google Photo Basics. We got actually 2 different Google Photos classics. This is, I think, the one you're probably would be looking for as a follow-up to this class, Google Photo Basics. So you just click that one, and it'll take you to the registration page. That's going to be offered Monday the 15th at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Okay. So we are at the top of the hour. I do want to thank you for attending the class. I hope you learned some things about OneDrive. I apologize for the technical difficulties today. You're more than welcome to take the class again if you want to take it again, or get the recording to see what was covered that you missed. But regardless, I hope I see you again in another class really soon, and hope you have a great evening. Thanks for attending.